What's up, guys? Welcome to another video, and today we are going to be wrong thing. Today we are ranking all 7 Scream movies. Now, I already discussed Scream 7 in like a previous video, so when we get to that movie, I'm going to just touch on it very briefly, so yeah. My overall thoughts on all 7 Scream movies is, to me, coming in last place for me is going to be Scream 7, the most recent film. And if you've watched my Scream 7 review on shorts and my full video on my channel, you would know how much I just thought this movie was awful. Like, to me, this movie was just a movie that had so much controversies, had so much production difficulties and production issues, that it just ultimately just became just this terrible movie, to where Kevin Williamson, to be fair, I thought he did a decent job as a director. Like, you could tell that he was a very inexperienced director, which you could tell by the movie. And to be honest, Kevin Williamson, which I still don't get how he wasn't even in charge, why he didn't write and direct this movie. Like, that to me was a big mistake. And I do hope that after the reception that Scream 7 that hopefully they'll listen to us, and hopefully Scream 8 will be way, way, way better than this. But yeah, this movie was awful, and that's really exactly why Scream 7 is dead last on my list. No pun intended. Number 6 for me is going to be somewhat of a controversial one, but Scream 5. I remember not really liking this movie at all. I thought, for one, I didn't like Sam Carpenter in here really at all, really. I never really bought her as, this, good final girl. And also, Melissa Barrett's performance in this movie was also not the greatest. I also thought the final killer reveal was just stupid. Toxic fandom sounds like a very interesting motive, but I just thought it was kind of stupid, and to me, the biggest sin this movie is gonna live by is the way they killed Dewey. I absolutely hated the way they killed off Dewey in this movie. It could have been done so much better, and for that reason, Scream 5 is pretty low on my list because of it. Coming in number 5 is going to be Scream 3. Now, Scream 3 is a movie that, much like Scream 7, had a lot of production issues, to where Kevin Williamson didn't return for this one as the writer. This movie also had so many script rewrites that it just overall became a chaotic mess. And Neve Campbell didn't really do, she was barely in this movie at all, really. She felt like a background character for pretty much most of the runtime. And I will say her half brother was also a pretty cool reveal. And also Gale Weathers absolutely had the worst haircut with the bangs and all that. It looked awful, really, and I'm glad they got rid of it. But yeah, this movie was just, and then they had a weird Jay and Silent Bob cameo here for no reason, and they also had Lance Henriksen, who played a bit of a deviant of a producer that, ironically enough, this movie was produced by Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, that's totally not a coincidence. Yeah, totally. No, not totally. No. No, but the less we talk about that piece of crap, the better. Overall, this movie was just a mess, really. But I do find Scream 3 to be a lot of fun. At least with Scream 3, I at the very least enjoy it. But yeah, that's why Scream 3 is going to be at my number 5. Number 4 is going to be Scream 6. Now, Scream 6, to me, is a movie that I actually liked a good 80 to 90% of this movie. Unfortunately, the last 20 to 15 minutes of this, I thought was awful. Like, the actual final reveal of the killers in here was awful. It was so bad, guys. Like, because of how bad the killer reveal was in this movie, in Scream 6, that it, like, to me, if the killer reveal was actually done, like, better, then to me, Scream 6 could have been way, way higher up on this list. And plus, on top of that, I thought Melissa Barrera as Sam Carpenter, I thought her performance in here was way, way better than the last one, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, I overall really liked Scream 6 a lot for that reason. And yeah, that's why Scream 6 is going to be on my number 4. Now, my number 3 is going to be Scream 4. Now, with Scream 4, I actually really like Scream 4, to where I thought the kills were really good in here. I thought the actual twist that Sidney's cousin was secretly the killer, and I thought this was a great motive, you know? And to me, it is such a shame that I heard originally the ending for Scream 4 originally was that Jill, by like the end, was actually going to survive and, you know, become the internet famous, but because they didn't do that, they ultimately didn't do that. And it's such a shame that Kevin Williamson never did his version of Scream 5 and 6, to where originally we were going to have Jill, you know, go to college, and then she would later, like, get a call from, like, another Ghostface killer. It's like, hey, I know your secret. And it would be like a game of cat and mouse, to where it would have been a killer versus a killer. Like, that could have been cool. But unfortunately, we never got that. So it's a shame that Scream 4 ultimately, like, try to start up a new trilogy just for it to ultimately just not really go well, which is sad. And also, I hated the look of Scream 4. Like, it looked like a straight up adult film, if you know what I'm saying. Like, it looked like that type of quality and did not look good at all. But yeah, those are my thoughts on that. Number 2 is going to be Scream 2. Now, with Scream 2, I actually really like the sequel, to where this is really the only sequel on this list that is like the closest to have the same feel as the first movie, to where I thought the kills in here were really good. I thought the opening scene was awesome, you know, much like, because I thought the openings for like the rest of them were also pretty solid as well. But to me, the killer, like, reveal in this one, I thought was great. Despite there being, like, a couple of, like, them having to rewrite the script during the third act, which you could kind of tell that they had to rewrite it. But it was still pretty decent overall. Like, to me, I really liked Timothy Olyphant's performance in here as, like, this killer. Like, to me, he was like almost just as good as Stu. You know, he was up there. And then you have freaking Aunt Jackie from Roseanne in here as, like, also the killer, and she turned out to be Billy's mother, which is a pretty cool reveal. So yeah, for that reason alone, I really liked Scream 2 a lot for that reason. Also, I thought the cast of characters in here were a lot of fun. But coming on number 1, I mean, do I really have to explain to you why number 1 will always be the original Scream? I mean, it's an old-time classic. The opening scene is, like, one of the best opening scenes to not only in horror film history, but it's overall one of the best, like, opening scenes to any movie ever, in my opinion. To where Sidney, I thought, was a great final girl in here. The actual reveal that there's not one but 2 killers is also awesome. I also love Billy Loomis and Stu as, like, the 2 main killers, and their motives in here actually made a lot of sense. And to me, Stu, I've always loved. For me, he's my favorite Ghostface. For me, you know, like I like the type of ghost faces that have like a bit of a personality to them, like a fun personality, like Stu. And to me, for that reason, I've always thought that the first Scream will always be number one, and no matter how many Scream sequels we get, there will be no sequel that will ever top in the original. And that's Sydney. And overall, but yeah, those are overall thoughts on everything. And by the way, as Sydney will always say, never mess with the original. And